Welcome back, guys. So only a couple more sections to go in our CRUD series. We currently have our view working and our add product working. You can see here we have used a modal, and let me change this modal title. This add product should actually be up here, so let me go in and change that. So this is our products page and our modal title. Let us copy this and change our title, and now we don't need to have this add product right here, so let's remove this table row. Okay, so refresh. Okay, so now that's looking better. Now we would like to be able to edit each one of these products by clicking on our edit button. Currently, you see here that when you click on the edit button, you're passing the ID in the URL. So each product that you click on, it should display the ID for that product in the URL. So this ID will be our parameter that we will use to change or delete or edit each one of these products. So let us jump into the code. We have not yet created our edit page. So remember, right here where we are creating our products table, we are fetching each row. We are fetching the ID of each one of those rows. And also here in our actions section, where we have our edit and delete, we are also passing the ID of that product. So we're grabbing the product ID from the product table and passing it into our URL using ID. So this ID is what we will use to change or delete our product. So now we need to create an edit.php file. So we create an edit.php and we open up our PHP tags, and the first thing we will do is require our database connection. So there are a couple of different ways you can do it. You can require it using your single quotations, or you can do it as we have been doing it with our tag or braces. So db config. Okay, so now we have our database connection in our file. We want to grab the ID that is being passed when we click on our product. So in order to do this, let us first check if that ID is set. So first we're going to say if it is not set. So this is how you would type it using the exclamation. That means not. So if not is set, meaning if it is not set, and we want to, in this instance, we're just going to get the ID. So remember, we're passing it in as ID. So first, let us get our error out of the way. So if it is not set, then we want to echo, let's just say product not found. Else, we want to set a variable that we can use in this edit.php script. We want to set it equal to ID. Okay, so now we have a local instance of that product ID. So now we want to query our database to bring back that single product that was that the ID was passed in for. So let us build our query. So we want to say select let's select all from our products table where our product ID, which is the name of our column in our database, is equal to ID variable that we just created, and we have to actually concatenate it. Okay, that's right. So select all from products, where product ID is equal to this ID variable here. So next, we want to get the result. So let us create a variable called result equals MySQL query. Sorry, MySQL query. And first we want to include our connection. And then we want to include our query. And we can simply stay in the same line, or if this query returns an error, we can say our die, and we can just print that error message. Right, so that is a shorthand way to do it. So now we need that row. So let us store it in a variable called row. So MySQL, and we want to fetch that associated row. And now we're going to plug the result here. And now we should be able to work with our, let us close off our PHP tab. So now we can create our actual HTML that will display the value from the row that we have gotten from our query here. So now let us create some HTML, and as we've been doing, I'm just going to go ahead and grab at least the header section of our document, and we're going to include it in our page up to, okay, let's grab up to here. So let's copy this and paste it in, and we're going to change this to update product. Product, right? And let us close off, before we forget, let us actually close off our body and our HTML tag. Okay. And let's just remove this from here. All right. So now we can go ahead and create our form. So I'm going to put my form in a div. Let's close it off here. And now inside my div, I'm going to build my form. So inside this form, we're going to display the value of the row that we clicked on. So name, name is equal to form, edit, our method be post, and our action will be equal to update .php, which we will create here in a short moment. Alright, so our first input field will have to be a hidden field, and inside this hidden field we will have our product ID. Alright, so let's create our input. Name is equal to ID. Type will be hidden. and the value will be equal to our product ID. So we can open up our PHP tags inside here. We can say PHP, and remember the shorthand for PHP echo is this, and we're just going to echo the row and the product ID. Close that off. Actually, this should be inside here. Okay. There we go. So let's close out this input tag. Okay. So now to format these other input fields properly, I'm just going to wrap them inside a paragraph tag. So let's say input, and the type is equal to text, and the first field, and this form is going to be similar to our create, the form that we used to create. Okay, so it's going to be similar to our modal. So remember, inside our modal we have our form, and the values will be fairly similar to what we have here. So let us finish this one. So first one will be product code, and the value is going to be equal to, and here we can now open up our PHP tag, and we're going to echo the value. So we're going to say row value will be product code. Okay, so we can simply copy this a few more times and change this to product name. So remember, we're keeping the similar values that we have here, so product quantity and product price. So quantity and price. And there should be these values over here that we're echoing should be similar to the ones in our database. Okay, so in our database the field names are name, quantity, and price. And we will need one more field for our submit button. So this will be, type will be submit. Our name will also be submit. And the value, let's change the value here to update. And now let us close off our form. And that should be all we need to display the value in our table. So let us try that out. So let us refresh our page here, and let us click on our tire, and we are getting an error. So let us check and see what this message is saying. So it is saying no such file or directory, edit.php on line 2. So let us see what's going on line 2. Okay, so we forgot to put our .php. Alright, so let's refresh it. Let's go back and do a refresh. Click on edit, and here you can see that we are getting the value for our tire. And if we go back and click on our oil filter, we're now getting the values for our oil filter. Alright. Alright, so now that we have our values coming over correctly, and let me just close out some of these windows here. Now that we have our values coming over correctly, it is now time to create our update.php file that will handle the updating of our values. So right now if we click on update, it will tell us object not found. So let us go ahead and create that update.php file to handle our form submission. Alright, so let us create a new file. We'll name it update.php. And let us open up our PHP tags. And of course, the first thing we will need is our database connection. So let us require that. .php. And now we have to check if the post has been submitted from our form. So this post will look very similar. Where are we? It will look very similar to our create. Here we are. So when we create a product, it is really passing in the values from our form and filling out each row in our database. So similar to update, we will be pulling in the value for each form and simply updating our database based on those values. So let us get right to it. So we have to check if our post value is set first and foremost. So let us check if post and let us grab our submit value. So if it is set, we want to set our code equal to our product code. So product code. So remember, these post values are the same values that we have named each one of our input fields. So what we're essentially doing right now is creating a shorter variable name for each one of them. So the name will be equal to okay, let's get rid of this extra one. Okay. I see the problem. It should be a square bracket. Alright, and now our quantity will be equal to product quantity and finally our price will be equal to product price. Right, so to ensure that you have not made any errors, it's very easy to just go ahead and copy those values over to our update.php file. So now that we have created, okay, this should be price. So now that we have created shorter variable names, and let me just put a little space just so that it's a bit more readable. Now we can create our query statement. So we want to do a query, And this query is now going to update the products in our database. So we have to say update our products table, and we want to set, and we're going to do each one of these values. So we're doing, remember, we're doing prepared statements. So first we have to say product code, and now we're using the exact same name as the database table name. Okay, so product code, name, quantity, and price. Product code, we're going to use our placeholders. So name be equal, and then quantity, and price. And we're going to say where our product ID is that. We can close off our query statement. Now let's create a variable called SQL. We want to now prepare our query. So we use our connection, and we are going to now prepare our query. So we just plug our query right here. Okay, and one thing we forgot to do, we didn't create an ID variable, so we do want to store that ID value that is coming over. So this should be ID. Okay, so now that we have prepared our statement, we can now bind the parameters to our statement. Alright, so we can now say SQL, and we're going to bind so now in this instance we are updating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 values. So we need 5 placeholders, 1, 2, 3, 4, and ID is an integer, so this should be an I. And also it worked for our edit page, for our create script, but however, remember, price in our database is a decimal. Okay, so if we look at the structure of this table, we can see here that price is actually a decimal or a double. So with a prepared statement, this value here, this placeholder, should actually be a D. Alright, so price would be a double, and ID would be an integer, and our other 3 values are string. So now we can plug in our variables. So the first one is our product code, and then our name, then we have quantity, price, and ID. Now we can check to see if this statement executes successfully. So we can say if SQL if it executes, we would like to create a success message and set it to product updated successfully. And we would also like to redirect our user to the products page. Location docs.php. Else we need to display some error message, and we let our users know that there was an error trying to update the product. And once we have done that, we can close our SQL connection. And also our database connection. Okay. Alright, so this script looks good. So let us save it and make sure all our other files are saved. A shortcut to save all the files in Visual Studio Code is Control K and then release and tap S to save all files. So now let's go back to our update products page, so we can now refresh this page, and let's say we want to change the price of an oil filter to $55.10. Okay, and let's say we just want to capitalize FLT, right? So let us click on update, and you see it has redirected us to our products page, and it has also updated our oil filter. Okay, so one change I want to make in our create PHP. So remember I said that price is actually a double. So let us change this to a D to reflect the type, the variable type. So let us save this. So now let us create a new product and edit it. So add product. So let us add one. Let us just add a test product. All right. Test item. This will be 3, and let's say we only sell them in quantities of 3, and so let us now submit, and you can see here that our test product was created. And now let us edit it. So let us now say it's only saved, it is only sold in quantities of 2, and we now want to change the price to $380.55, and let's capitalize TES. Click on update, and you can see that our test item was updated successfully. Alright, so we're almost done. One more video. The next video should be fairly short. It's going to deal with deleting an item from our table. Alright, so thank you for watching. See you in the next video.